I thought this was going to be a nice sweep of a week for the New York Knicks, but they had plans. They had plans to say, you know what? We heard JD, we heard Alex after Miami. Not tonight, man. Not tonight. What are your thoughts about this game, Chris?
Oh man, Mamu Mania.
Mamu Mania. Good Lord. Not Manu Mania, Mamu Mania.
Mamu Mania ran all over us. It just from the jump, it just looked like the Knicks just didn't have it. Just simple pick and rolls. They were just getting beat. No lackluster effort defensively. It was just rotations. They weren't reacting. It was just all bad from the jump. And then like I said, it would have got up to like 27-point lead, 28-point lead. I mean, then they cut it, they teased, they got back, they looked like they were energized, especially, the bench got in there.
The
They
fake comeback.
Big comeback, right? Especially when Mitch came in, it felt like it was different, but it just felt like, yeah, it wasn't going to be our night at all. And, obviously it showed because to let Mamu let us go, like, that's insane. Like, I've seen him have moments, back when he played in Seton Hall and stuff, but I didn't 37 and he what 7 from three. Like it was insane, man. The bench absolutely destroyed us. I mean, I think they had what 60 points. Like it was insane. Like they didn't have it today. It showed from the jump.
I mean, you talk about the Spurs bench having 60 points. I mean, 34 of those points came from Mamu. I mean, what hell of a night for a guy who's a bench player. I mean, this is a team that's typically led by Wemby and, the new acquisition, De'Aaron Fox, who they shut down too, just because once Wemby got the blood clot, hope he's doing well. They said, let's Cooper flag time, baby. We ain't trying to compete no more. But I guess they did circle this game because they remember what happened on Christmas Day and they said, you know what? We got to get our revenge. And that they did, man. That they did. And the only guy who came up to show out tonight was none other than Carl Anthony Towns, man. He went 11 to 21 from the field tonight, got the Knicks 32 points, went 2 of 5 from downtown, 8 and 9 from the free throw line, 9 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal. I mean, Cat offensively, we already know what he could do, man. We just know how gifted he is, how efficient he is. And look, to start this game, he went on a 9-0 run by himself. He continued what he did against the Miami Heat in that second quarter. He went on a 15-0 run, said, guess what? I'm going to do the same thing again. And this is cool because, when you don't have Jalen Brunson and you're looking for an answer, how Brunson likes to set the tone, and then Cat usually sets the tone in the second quarter. It was nice to see, and I get that's the San Antonio Spurs, but yeah, you can't even use that moniker tonight because they beat us. But it's nice to see that Carl Anthony Towns can get activated in a first quarter and doesn't have to wait to like settle in or let somebody else, get into rhythm. I did like to see that, but just nobody else, man. I mean, for most of the first half, you had all the other starters with a donut, like from the field. I mean, like they either went to the free throw line and got their points that way, but when you were looking at the field goal, I think it was until like 3 minutes left in the second quarter where it was like either McBride or OG hit the shot and it was like, oh, finally, somebody's on the board outside of Carl Anthony Towns from the field. Hallelujah. But that goes to tell you how much of a difficult night it was for the New York Knicks and how tough it was for Cat because we really had to rely on Cat to keep us in this game to make it even like somewhat entertaining for New York.
Yeah. It was at one point, I think OG, Mikhail, and Deuce were like 0 of 11, I think, for
Mm-hmm.
like a few minutes left in the first quarter. So it was just it was bad. And Deuce was actually doing really good on Castle too. Like he was actually playing good defense on him. So he used a lot of energy, but like I said, they just didn't have it offensively in that beginning of that game.
No, they didn't. And look, we could talk about, Bridges, OG, picking it up in the second half, even like Josh Hart getting his one bucket where it's like, oh, he finished through contact, didn't get the foul, didn't get the foul call. Most of tonight's scoring came from the bench for the Knicks, which is, an odd thing to say because usually, the bench kind of struggles, right? Defensively, they're fine. Offensively, it could be a mixed bag at time, especially when you have Deuce in the starting rotation. But when you're looking at the stat sheet and you're starting to see, okay, Campaign went 4 and 9 from the field, got us 11 points. Mitch was our most efficient guy, 5 of 6 from the field, gets us 13 boards. A lot of putbacks for him tonight with 11 boards. He's looking good, man. He's looking like he's getting back into rhythm. Played 17 minutes tonight. And then you had Precious, who went 2 of 3. I didn't even think Precious played that well tonight. And then only one shot from Landry, for like the critical minutes of the game. It just goes to tell you what this entire thing looked like. And there was just really no one else in this game that you could just be like, you know what, this person had a good game. It was just really Karl Anthony Towns. And honestly, the one moment that I was terrified, and you got to start saying, hey, do we just start resting guys at this moment? Is when he was holding his hand in the second quarter, and you're like, oh man, he ran to the sideline, then goes to the back, goes to the locker room. Thankfully, he comes right back out and then plays again. But then you start to see even throughout part of the game, he's holding his hand, he's grimacing. What do you think, Chris? Is this a moment where you got to start considering? Got to start to consider, I should say, just resting Cat until like postseason, or like just figure out which games, or like what are we doing here?
Um, you probably should, but they won't. You
Mm.
know, we know how Tibbs is. It's not gonna happen. But you know, I remember just writing notes for the second quarter and just saying bad, bad, all bad. Like they made a little run at the end of the second quarter, but it mostly was bad. And then when I saw him hurt his finger, I was like, we can't catch a break right now. Like we need him. We can't do nothing offensively. Like it's been a struggle, especially with no Brunson. But if he's out, where's the offense coming from? We have no one else that can create their own shot. So we need the big man there. And like I said, if he's not there, the production is just so he might need some rest, but man, because it feels like sometimes he's really like carrying himself. Like he feels like there's more than just a finger. There's a bunch of things going on with Karl Anthony Towns right now. There's a lot of lower body stuff that he probably needs a few maintenance days. Kind of like what doing with Denver's doing with Jokic. Just
Mm.
like, hey man, we need to shut down the big man because we need him for the long, the run to try to make a championship run. But I don't know if that's going to happen right now. I mean, they probably should because they're locked in at the 3 seed right now. We pretty much got that locked up. So maybe we should give them a few days, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think they're going to keep playing until, the wheels fall off. So, but I think he should get a few maintenance days because he needs it.
I see someone in the I saw someone in the chat say let him get to 65 games and then rest him so that way he could be eligible for awards.
Think
That's
about
not a bad idea. When I find that comment, I'll let you know. And I'm sorry I can't remember
think
your.
of that aspect too of the all NBA stuff. Certain these guys,
Hmm.
triggers in their contracts, certain incentives. I didn't think about that aspect too.
Triple M, my guy. I see you in the chat. Unmute your mic, bro.
Yo, my brother Alex and Chris, what's going on, bros?
Not much, man. How you doing? You sipping on tequila tonight?
Yeah, bro. Look, that's why I had to call in, man. So look, I was actually, I was getting ready for the Knicks Fan TV tryouts, for basketball over
Oh,
the
there we go.
summer. So I actually did not watch the first half, right? So I didn't watch the first half. So then I get home, I put the game on. So I don't even know what's going on. I just see we down and we coming back, right? So
Hmm.
then we doing our comeback, our little fake comeback, and then the fourth quarter comes on. Then Alan Hahn is like, "Oh man, they putting Mamacello in the game." I don't even know who Mamacello is. Like, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. You know, they putting him in the game, and it's like everybody's scared, and I'm like, "Man, who is this guy?" And this guy completely turns up and goes crazy on us. Alex, Chris, this guy scores 30 points in under 20 minutes, the first player in history to do this. So I had to call in right now because now I'm starting to sip because I'm like, what is going on right now? This guy is going crazy and like I'm confused. Like I'm frustrated right now. I'm usually a half full type of fan. I like seeing the positives, but I'm tight right now, bro. I'm tight because there's 13 games left in the season. The Spurs are not even trying to win. They put Marcelo back in the game in the fourth quarter. They're not even trying to win this game, and we lose this game. Fellas, what is going on with this New York Knicks squad? Talk to me.
I think part of it is part of the travel, man. I think the travel is a little crazy. Literally come back from West Coast trip. It did not look like these guys wanted to play whatsoever tonight at all. But it's also like this team, man. It's like the defense and the attention to detail. Like if you are traveling, like if you've done this much travel and you're ready to compete, you're focusing all in on all the details. And I just think this team, we've seen it too much this season where they can easily lose focus. I mean, look at all the transition scoring that we saw from the Spurs tonight. That's attention to detail. That's just communication. And I feel like when we watch this Knicks team, it's, they're incapable of just doing that for 48 minutes straight on a consistent night to night basis. And that's where, if this offense is clicking, that you don't got to worry about that. You don't got to worry about that defensively. But the thing is that as we even see tonight, and this team is still talented offensively without Jalen Brunson, right? And this is not to appease to the fans or on Knicks Twitter saying that we don't need Jalen Brunson and all that nonsense. That's craziness. But what I am saying is that when their offense isn't going, the defense is just like they just don't have that switch to flip it to be a defensive mindset.
And how many times they let Sandro wide open, like wide open to hit threes. Like it was insane how many times on pick and rolls they were just lost, and Mamukelashvili just hits wide open threes. Like he also, it was just an all-time shooting like performance. Like it's just like some guys just have it, and he had it, and he only missed one shot. 19 minutes, he went 13 or 14 and hit all seven of his threes. Like it was just one of those nights too, where just he wasn't missing. And then like Keldon Johnson hit a wild 3-pointer, bank three. Like once that happened, and like I think it went from like a 14-point lead. Like they got back up. It was like, all right, this is there's nothing we could do. It's just we just got to call it in. Just call it a day, and because it was just once Keldon hit that three, I was like, yeah, it's a wrap.
Underdog Fantasy is the place to play if you're a fan looking to cash in on some of your favorite athletes' performances. Available in over 30 states, including New York, California, and Texas. Just call your shot on higher or lower on 2 or more player stats for your chance to win real money. Use our promo code KFTV for up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick. So download the Underdog Fantasy app today and turn every bucket into a W.
As we all know, the Knicks lost 120 to 105. Knicks lost the rebounding battle. This is a big key to why they lost tonight. 52 to 44. Knicks tied the assist battle 28 to 28. They also tied the steals and the block numbers, both 7 apiece each in both categories between both teams. Knicks did win the turnover battle 10 to 13, and this is where things went south. Knicks shot 42% from the field while the Spurs shot 50. Knicks shot an abysmal 30% from downtown, while the Spurs shot a great 46% from three. And then you had the free throw percentage where Knicks won that battle percentage-wise, 76 to 70. And then when you start looking at points in the paint, Spurs won that battle 52 to 50, so they barely won that one. They barely won the second chance opportunities as well, 18 to 17. But the Spurs did win the fast break points battle 19 to 14. And so as you see, like Spurs just, I usually don't say that the stats tell the entire story and how the teams won, because the Knicks have, not necessarily won every single category or even like the important categories and still come out victorious. But in tonight's matchup, it looked like one team was dominating, and it certainly shows by that on the stat sheet. And that was the San Antonio Spurs tonight. So that's, these are my key stats I took away from this game. What are your thoughts on the stats?
Yeah, the stats didn't lie. The stats still, sometimes you hear like stats lie because you really got to. No, the stats didn't lie here. Like what you see on the stat sheet is exactly what happened, and you could kind of put that in your head and kind of, imagine what happened. So yeah, the stats did not lie in this game. What you saw is exactly what happened. Mama doing everything. Guys were open, and it just, like I said, there stats didn't lie in this case.